All right, looks like we're finally live. What's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice Show. We have a couple decent-sized slates to talk about today, and hopefully no one lost all their money on Showdown last night. Hopefully you played less volume. Maybe you snuck in both the goalies. If that was the case, I think you had a pretty good night. I didn't watch a second of the game, so lost a little bit on Showdown, but that's all right. Didn't lose everything, which is the more important thing. Thanks to you guys for getting up and joining me early. I'm sure it's early for some of you, depending on where you're located, but just wanted to make sure we got in some live streams before both of these slates start. So I'm playing both. So I figured I'd get on and talk a little bit about the early, talk a little bit about the late, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So as news trickles in, feel free to share it in the YouTube chat or in the premium chat. If you guys see updated skating lines, it's always a little bit awkward timing doing streams this early, but it seems like some of you guys like it. So yeah, Sharks stacked tonight. Kane, Hurdle, Burns. I'm with it for sure. I think it'll be pretty popular. But yeah, looking like Burns is probably going to be my highest exposed guy, which will be a shock to no one, at least on the main slate. I think FanDuel's contests came out, or I'm sorry, they filled early. So it's good and bad. Good if you got in, good for hopefully future contests. They can make them a little bit bigger, especially on some of these split slates. But it's been a really weird schedule as of late. Yeah. Brushing his teeth, fixing his hair. Yep, I did it all for you guys. Just wanted to make sure I looked my best for the few people that actually watched this. Remember the other night when I told you Burns over Yossi? I hit that hard that night, then went right back to Burns. Yeah. Any of those top defensemen, I think those are the guys I'm more likely to make a really big stand on. So Sharks Edmonton games are nuts this season. Oh, they've got some good history, I'm assuming. I mean, especially in Edmonton. I mean, San Jose is a little bit worse defensively on the road, but still super high event. They've got just that nasty top six. So wouldn't shock me. And then Edmonton's just a complete disaster. It looks like there's a trade going on. Byron Froze and David Schlemko. So pull all your lineups with draw. No David Schlemko today, it looks like. Kempe feels unfadeable on the early slate at that price. Whew. I don't know. Is Kempe ever unfadeable? I mean, he's playing well. But I don't think I'll be there. I'll put it that way. Certainly going to be different if you go that way. So you guys probably won't like, some of you won't like what I have to say on the early slate, I don't think. Oh, what's up, Boom? It's a little early for you here. Aren't you in California, Boom? 8 o'clock? Getting ready to play some NHL? Oh, you were probably up watching soccer. Kempe is fine onslaught teams when you need a cheap center. Sure. Stick with hot guys getting new PP time. Yeah. That makes sense. If you believe in the hot streaks. Sure. All right, let's get into this early one. And I ran some crunches, so I've actually got something to refer to. I'm not just talking just to talk. I'll try to move it along as quickly as possible. We've got 13 games to get through. Maybe only a couple minutes on a few of these games. There's kind of a very bold line between games I really like and games I don't like much at all. So hopefully we'll move faster through some other ones like this one. I think this one's going to be pretty obvious. Kings, Bruins, this is the first game in the early slate. Again, if I haven't said it, 1 Eastern lock. This will be the first one. Also, we have a giveaway going on. I should probably mention that before we get into anything. Like we did around Christmas time, February 13th, we're celebrating our first anniversary here at Osmo.com. So to thank you guys, we are giving away a free all-access membership to a loyal viewer of our YouTube channel. And all you have to do to be entered in that contest on the YouTube side is like this video. And then today we're going to comment favorite NHL player of all time. That'll be the comment for today. And then for an additional chance to win another free all access or a separate contest, go to our Twitter page, Osmo_com, and then check out the pinned tweet for some more information. So be sure to do that. If you're not a premium subscriber, this is your chance to win Osmo.com premium for a year at no cost to you. So that's a $700 value. That's pretty cool, I think. And again, that will be announced. That will be announced on February 13th on the last Live Before Lock show before the NBA All-Star break. And then hopefully we get some more cash flow into the NHL contests. So you gotta don't comment in here. Don't comment in the chat on the YouTube channel. You're gonna have to refresh this video once the live stream's over, and then comment, and then make sure you like it as well. That's how you get entered into the YouTube side. Again, go to osmo.com go to the Osmo_com Twitter account for more info on how to gain additional entries. So, also the NBA show just started. So if you're here for NBA, go watch EMAC and Adam. They are obviously very awesome at what they do. Very entertaining show. A lot of good analysis as well. All right, now that we got that stuff out of the way, you guys know how to get a chance for a free membership for a year. Kings, Bruins, Jonathan Quick, Tuukka Rask. Rask is confirmed. We've got some new Boston Bruins lines. They split up Pastrnak with Bergeron and Marchand for one of the first times this season. Maybe they've done it one other time this season. But Osmo got Burns wrong the other night? What do you mean got Burns wrong? No, we didn't get Burns wrong. There hasn't been a wrong answer when the answer's been Burns lately. Bergeron, Marchand, and Danton Heinen. They could get split up at some point, but Heinen's 2,900. Even if he plays a period and a half, like, he's probably worth it at that price just to get exposure to Marchand and Bergeron at even strength. They're probably going to go up against Kopitar. Oh, if Burns is ever an E value, that's probably just a typo. We talked about how much we like Burns that night. So if you watch the show, yeah, an E value for a guy, that's just because he's expensive. So maybe he liked other guys as better values, but points grade, I'm sure he was an A. So you pay more attention when they're higher priced. You pay more attention to the points grade than the value grade. Burns' floor is higher than everyone else's ceiling almost. Yeah, I agree with you, Bots. All right, back on track here. So LA is pretty much a cross-off here for me. I don't like targeting Boston. I don't like targeting Boston with bad teams. I don't like targeting Boston when they're at home, especially a one-line team, pretty much a one-line team that's going to see Bergeron. No thanks. So I like the Bergeron line better. I'm somewhat split between Bergeron and Krejci, but again, I like the Bergeron line better. I'm coming in around 20% for them for the early slate, whereas the Krejci line, I'm only getting a few shares, about 5 to 10% of them. I think I'm at 8 actually right now, so probably gonna run the crunch one more time. Nothing will switch, but yeah, I'm just going with 2/3 of the good Boston one. You can still go Pastrnak on this line. I think you're not really worried about anything on the Kings if you're worried about Heinen getting demoted or that line getting put back together. True Boston one. There's no problem going with Pastrnak with Bergeron and Marchand. It just gets really pricey. You kind of handcuff yourself with the rest of your lineup. I like Krug, but like I just think his value's tied so much to Boston one, and like the power play as well. So I don't know. I probably won't have too much Krug on the main slate, even though I do like the Bergeron line. Yeah, I'm only getting like 3 shares, 5% Krug on my early crunches. Whereas I am getting a little bit of McAvoy just because he's probably going to skate a bunch with Bergeron even strength, and he's only 4K, and block shots does kind of the stuff that Krug doesn't do, even though McAvoy doesn't really have that kind of upside that Krug has. Rask at 8,300. I think he's one of the safest bets for a win, so that's why I do have some exposure to him. He's actually one of my highest exposed goalies now that I'm looking at it. I just want that win on these medium to large slates, and I think he's one of the safer bets. So that's really that. I think you can pretty safely ignore the Kings here, unless I'm just missing something. But rather not target against Boston, rather not play the old Kings. Burns needed OT for 6 to almost salvage Tuesday. I mean, he got to 6, right? But you play Burns because he's on the ice so much. He's on the ice in great spots, like all the time. Shorthanded, 5-on-4, 4-on-3, it doesn't matter. So you're going to get bailed out sometimes with him, but that's baked into the price. All right. This one should be pretty fun for two teams that aren't necessarily good. Red Wings and the Sabres. I don't know if we have confirmed. Actually, that's a lie. We do have confirmed goalie on the Buffalo side. I just saw it before I came on here. It's Allmark in net. So this will be Allmark. Not that I'm super interested in him anyways, but we do have Eichel, Skinner, Pominville. And I'm a little bit torn on what to do here because I like Eichel and Skinner together. I don't necessarily love them with Pominville, but he is cheap. I think I'd rather just pay a little bit extra for Boston 1 if I'm going up this high. And then they're probably going to see a lot of the Larkin line, which I kind of don't want that much of. And I think Buffalo 1's going to be a little bit chalky, maybe like the 3rd or 4th highest owned line on this early slate. That's kind of the read I'm getting. This really bugs me that they don't have Nyquist on the top power play, but it's not going to be enough to keep me off of Detroit 1. So Detroit 1's my favorite play here. Larkin, Nyquist. I know Abdelkader sucks. You just kind of close your eyes and put him in your lineup. Or if you're hand building and you're not full even strength stacking, maybe you go with someone like Mantha or Vanek. Power play 1 exposure. I mean, that's fine. Or just keep the mini stack with Larkin and Nyquist because those are really the 2 best parts of this stack. You can take a pick with one of these defensemen. You guys kind of know my take on Cronwall. It's almost never Cronwall for me. I can't say never Cronwall because I have played him a couple nights. Yeah, Abdelkader got a point the other night. That's what you're looking for, is like a point and maybe a couple blocks, or he puts a shot on goal. You just hope he gets in on some of the scoring if Larkin and Nyquist, which are the 2 guys you're really playing, if they get multiple goals. So at that price, you can do it for Abdelkader, in my opinion. 7K for anyone on Detroit seems ridiculous. Yeah, but you got to look at the context of the stack too. Maybe not as a cash play. I mean, I understand if you think Larkin's overpriced, but in the context of a stack, they're just over 15K or 15.5, 15.6, somewhere around there. So I think it's a good price for the stack. So if you can get past the 7,100 for Larkin himself, which I definitely can, then yeah. There's been some Buffalo 2 talk. Middlestat, Sheary, and Reinhart. You understand why, because they're going to get the better match. They're going to see Nielsen, Vanek, Mantha, and they're cheap, and you get 2 guys on the top power play. You can even go Middlestat with Reinhart and Eichel or Skinner if you wanted to, because Detroit takes a lot of penalties and they're bad on the kill. So it's understandable. I want to kind of look where I ended up on the Middlestat line, because I got 1 share out of 60 lineups. So I don't think I'm going to be heavy on the Middlestat line. I just don't think that line's going to be that great. Like, I like Reinhart, and I love the chances he's been generating lately, but I'm just not really there on Middlestat. So if Buffalo 2's the nuts on the early slate, I don't think I'll be winning the money, even though I recognize that it is a pretty good even strike matchup for them. I'm just not sure about them as a line. All right. Defenseman here, either of these two guys, Dahlin's just been crushing lately. If you look at like season-long projections, they're probably going to lean to Ristolainen, mine included. But if you want to go with Dahlin, if you want to go with the hot hand, and the guy that's playing a ton of minutes as well, I've got no issue with that at all. Because, as I said, Detroit's Detroit's penalty kill sucks, and they take a lot of penalties, which is a pretty good recipe for success for the opposing defenseman, especially when you got a couple of good ones. Minnesota and New Jersey here. We've got some new Minnesota lines, and this one is a 5.5 total. I think this one might go a little bit overlooked. The Devils without Taylor Hall are mostly an avoid for me. I think people will see this and continue to go to them. I just think there are way better plays on this slate than Heischer, Johansson, and Palmieri. They're just really hurt without playing, without having Taylor Hall drive a lot of their possession. Coleman's actually probably my favorite play on the Devils side, but I'm full stacking, so I don't even think I'm getting to any of the Zajac line. On the Minnesota side, I would like to go to this Granlund, Parise, Coyle line. The problem is this: 3 wingers on DK, and I'm only playing on DK for the early slate, and I might only be playing on DK for the whole day. Oh, Schneider's starting? Okay, yeah, Chris in chat just says Schneider starting today. So Dahlin took over Risto's job. Yeah, they've switched back and forth as the season has gone on. Where was I at? Oh yeah, the 3 wingers here makes it tough, especially if you're using Fantasy Cruncher. So if you want exposure to this line, you'll have to kind of manually do it, or maybe lock in 3 guys and then power play stack with a few of your lineups, which is probably what I'll end up doing. I don't know about Granlund at center. He hasn't played center for a couple of years. I don't know why you all of a sudden move him back. Why not have Coyle play center on that line? Coyle's been good playing center this season. And who knows, maybe they'll switch. The Wild are kind of a broken team right now. I get it if you want to avoid them, but I just think the prices are too good. There's quite a bit of talent in this top 6 still. And I'm not really worried about any of the matchups here. It's probably going to be Zajac going up against this line. But really, nothing worries me on the Minnesota side, even this low total. So this is probably more of your value stack. This price, I think, is still ridiculous for Zucker, a guy that attempts a lot of shots. Votto, you walk too much. We're talking baseball? This is just a clear underprice. He's been underpriced for a while now. And then Greenway's actually been starting to play quite a bit better as of late. So 2,900 getting power play exposure. I just like how these lines set up despite not having much data on any of them. Defenseman, I prefer Spurgeon. He's just the higher upside guy. Suter and Spurgeon are going to play 1 million minutes. So if the $500 doesn't matter to you, then I'd much rather go with Spurgeon at 5,300. How about that? Victor Rask down on the 4th line. Just 2 weeks after being traded for Niederreiter, who's just scoring every single day. Except for last night. I don't think he scored last night. So not every single night. How did Minnesota fall apart so easy? Was Dumba that good? Well, the Koivu loss is huge. Dumba loss, just offensive defenseman, just a good player. You take the good with the bad, I guess, with Dumba. He does a lot of questionable stuff sometimes, just kind of mental lapses, but he also has games where he's just completely locked in, and he's got a huge shot. And what he's producing, that's huge. That's been huge for them. So I'd be more worried about the Koivu loss. The Niederreiter trade was probably a little bit deflating for them as well. just because, the guy wasn't producing at all, and now you see him just crushing in Carolina, getting top line minutes, playing on the power play, just flourishing. So they would have loved to see that Niederreiter. It just wasn't working out there, though. So you understand why they got rid of him, but not for Victor Rask. So, all right, that's probably enough for the Wild. We could talk about them. Probably one of the most disappointing teams this season. And with all that being said, I think they're still in a playoff spot right now. So if they can somehow turn it around, they've still got what should be a pretty good team on paper. Whereas the Devils without Taylor Hall, I don't think they're going to be a good team at all. Avalanche and the Islanders, Patty Nemeth. So I just saw someone, Steven in chat. Yep, Patty Nemeth. Got to lock him in at 2,500. So we'll get that out of the way. Avs, Islanders, we've got Varlamov, and we don't know who's going just yet for the Islanders. Barry Trotz said there will be a goalie. I don't know why he doesn't confirm his goalie. Everyone's going to see it at 12:30 Eastern. So whatever, he doesn't want to give a goalie. That's fine. Just pay attention. Keeping up on late news for the early slate, especially because people might just be throwing a lineup in, sitting around their house, or maybe they're out, and the sites don't update the goalies quick enough, or if there's a late scratch. So just be around your computer or around your phone at 12:30 Eastern. I think that can be really valuable. That joke never gets old, Nemeth, SMH. Yeah, gotta love Nemeth. Yeah, lock him in for that one black shot in 14 minutes of ice time. So this game, targeting against the Islanders hasn't been profitable. Boston 1 got there. That was at home. It's a little bit different. They've just been really solid defensively. I would say complete 180 from last season around this time, where we were just hammering everyone against them. So my favorite line here, raw points wise, of course, is Colorado 1. I don't have them grading out particularly well. So just as a really good value stack, I love this Nelson, Eberle, and Anders Lee line. Colorado is one of those teams that commits a ton of penalties and then doesn't kill them off very well. They're even worse on the road at even strength. So Nelson, Lee, Eberle, I don't know how exactly they want to match. If they go up against Colorado 1, I don't think it's the end of the world. That line's got good numbers. Colorado 1 isn't super scary defensively. So this is my main target in this game. As far as exposure, when I'm going to cheap lines, like some we'll talk about in the next couple games, I'm going to have a few Colorado 1s. Right now, it's looking like 2 or 3. I got 2 in my last crunch. It's not going to be, I'm not going to them regularly. I don't think it's that great of a spot for them, but they're just more of, if I've got a 13K line where I'm going to, Colorado 1's going to get paired with them, because raw points wise, yeah, they grade out they are the number 1 stack on the slate, and even I think on the entire day I have them as maybe a little bit different now with Stamkos, Kucherov, but you get what I'm trying to say, just not a very good value. And they're like Boston 1 sometimes. They really do handcuff you, and I don't think it's all that great of a spot. Uncle Leo, we're talking Islanders 4 on a Saturday morning, this ungodly hour where people are touting Islanders 4? Jeez. I don't think you need to go that deep. They might even see some time against McKinnon. They've done that. You guys can have the Islanders 4. No thanks. For me, so if I'm going to any lines here, and I am definitely going to this one, if I'm going to Colorado, it's almost always Colorado 1. All right. And then my boy Polak, I like him quite a bit. Colorado leaky, Polak, huge shot, gets power play time. He should be getting power play 1 time. He is not, but it's not the end of the world. He's still in play as a one-off for me at under 5K. Next game. Yaros returning today. All right. I just had to remember who he plays for. He plays for Ottawa. Christian Yaros. All right. Ducks and the Flyers. We have, I don't think it's going to be Gibson. He left the game on, what was that, Thursday? He left the game with concussion protocol. So who knows if he has a concussion, but, it's a lost season for the Ducks, which is an understatement. They're very, 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 very bad. The Flyers have, it's just two teams going in completely opposite directions here. So it's going to be a lot of Flyers here for a lot of people. I was a little bit worried to see that I didn't get to a ton of Flyers, and maybe it's just the way the lines match up, because they've got new ones. Not new ones here. Couturier, Lindblom with Voracek. We've seen that the last several games. They're going to go up against Getzlaf, Raquel, and Perry. I think this line is okay, but this Getzlaf line hasn't been too bad, if I remember correctly, defensively especially. It's really the Ducks' depth you want to target if you can. So Giroux, Simmons, they have power play 1 correlation, but they're with Scott Lawton. So I can kind of poke holes in really all three of these Flyers lines. Konechny not getting power play time. He's a little bit overpriced, I think, even for 5K. But that being said, I do like how this third line kind of shakes out. What are they, 14K? You hope Konechny slots in on one of the power plays, but they're going to go up against Henrique, Ritchie, Sprong, probably this fourth line for the Ducks. The Ducks are just decimated, even with Kessler back. Who knows how healthy he's been. He hasn't been healthy for 2 or 3 years. So what are we talking about in chat? I missed when Yotes led behind Mike Smith made a playoff run. Yeah. So maybe if you want a mini stack here, if you want to go Simmons with Giroux, that'll probably be a popular one. It's hard to overlook that all these guys get power play time, and you've got a really cheap Lindblom who everybody leaves off. I don't know. I really want to like the Flyers here, and I think I'm going to end up underweight on them just because of I'm finding better values elsewhere, even when I factor in the even strength matchups here. And then also, along with that, none of their defensemen grade out super well for me. So, Gostisbehere at 5,100 is okay, top power play. He's an okay way to get exposure to Philadelphia, but as far as value goes, he's just not really there for me. And then on the Ducks side, Montour's the guy I'm getting to a little bit, but the Ducks are just trash. Carter Hart, yeah, he's a fine play for the Flyers. No issue with Carter Hart. I've got more Rask in that range, but Hart, the Flyers should win this game. Everyone should win against the Ducks these days. So, Hart's going to be chalk. That makes sense. Leonard pivot? I don't know. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I like Rask in that range, like I've said. So if you can find the extra $100 or $200, that's where I would go. All right. How many more games do we have in this early slate? 2, 3? 2, I think. Yeah, 2. All right. Let's do Preds and Blues. You see on your screen. Pecorine expected to go against Jordan Binnington. And if you guys are using my projections, I'll update them quick right after the show. So if there was any confirmation during the show for goalie, I will make those adjustments so you can run your final crunches if you are indeed using Cruncher. Preds Blues, we've got just a red-hot St. Louis team. Underlying numbers look awesome. I don't know if it's going to be Binnington. He's listed as probable right now on the sites, but I can't find any confirmation on him just yet. We're going to see we're going to see St. Louis go up against opposing top competition, which would mean Nashville 1. And it's kind of a conundrum. 2 really awesome lines at generating chances so far. St. Louis won, shorter sample, of course, but you just look at what they've done. They were solid against Tampa in their last game as well. And then Nashville, been raving about them for a couple weeks now, still around 80 shot attempts for per 60, almost 20 high danger chances, and then giving up about half of that per 60. Same thing with scoring chances, just over 23. So it's tough for me. I'm more likely to play St. Louis 1 here. Really low total in this game too. 2.7 for Nashville, 2.8 for the Blues, and I kind of agree with it. I just think these two lines, I don't want to say they cancel out each other, but if for some reason they do want to get the O'Reilly line against Tarasenko and Shen, like St. Louis will have the luxury of doing that, just being at home. And they've just been so good. They haven't gone off. I think people will see that they're overpriced, and they are probably a little bit overpriced, but for what they've done, for my money, that's where I would go in a few lineups over Nashville 1. So that's kind of where I'm at for this one, just St. Louis 1, as far as like the spend up options. And then I'm taking a few shots too on Bozak, Schwartz, and Steen. They've got decent numbers. I don't like any of the players like by themselves, but you just see pretty decent numbers for them as a trio. 47 minutes, they're on pace for just over 50 shot attempts, but they're creating a lot of quality chances, and I'll take a shot on them for super cheap. I don't think anybody's going to be on them, and then they're going to get the better matchup. Even though you don't love targeting Nashville, they're going to get the non-Johansson lines, which you would like to go up against. So they're going to end up in a few of my lineups as a salary relief. Hope you get a goal and maybe a little bit more out of them. You like Nashville 1, Eagles says. I don't think so. I don't really like them, no. Yeah, I got to 1 share, and that's because they 1 share out of 60 lineups. That's because I basically got to the top lines, every top line at least once, because there's a line that grades out incredibly well for me on this early slate. So the optimizer will pair them with just about anyone because there's so much value. All right. Defenseman here, you like Yossi, but there's a couple guys in the next game that I like a little bit better. I'm just worried about this being too low scoring of a game. Two teams that are very good at even strength, especially the Blues as of late. So that's a little bit too pricey if we're talking about limited lineups. And then I don't really have much on the Blues side that I love either. All right, last game of the early slate. Then we've got this standalone game that I'm not going to talk about. Jets and Senators. We have let's see what the total end up being here. 3.4 for the Jets, 2.6 for the Senators. For some reason, I thought this was a 6.5 total game. I'm going to check in another place. See if we can find anything different. But I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of goals here. Brossoit, the best goalie of all time, is in net. So a little bit worrisome. Yeah, okay. So it's 3.6, 3.7 for the Jets, and then almost 3 for the Senators. So I like that a little bit more. Gives me a little more confidence in where I'm going here. So turn your screens off if you don't want to hear me. Turn your computers off if you don't want to hear me talk about Ottawa here. It worked out last game. You could take your Ottawa ticket and cash out and never want to play them again. However, I am not doing that. Like I mentioned, Brossoit in net. I believe it's going to be Anders Nilsson. No, I did not, Steven. I did not watch that Canes Rangers snooze fest. I watched Ozark instead of that, so I think I made the right decision. If anybody hasn't seen Ozark, what a show. Great show. Anyways, we've got, Ozark is dope. Ozark, yeah, that's my new favorite show right now. White, Stone, Kachuk is the 6th ranked line in the NHL just by point spots? Or what are we talking about there? Ozark is great. Yeah, I'd like to see some Ozark fans in here. You guys are awesome. All right, so this is how the matchups are going to go. For me, at least my read, I think it's not a lock. Nothing's a lock, but Pajot against Scheifele, Connor, Wheeler, Pajot, PRV, Zach Smith. This was a line that when they were at home and Ottawa was using them in the shutdown role last season, I just played everyone on the road against every top line on the road against Ottawa because they kept matching this Pajot, Smith, PRV line against opposing top competition, and they would just get caved, repeatedly get caved, and then keep throwing them out there. Now, short sample on Ottawa 3. I'm going to find them quick. But I did take a peek at their numbers. They've been very good. Winnipeg 1, when they're right, they're probably a top 5 or 6 line. I think that's pretty safe, top 5 or 6 line in the NHL. But in 87 minutes, Pajot line is only allowing just over 51 Corsi against per 60. They are giving up, 20 scoring chances, 4.3 high danger chances against per 60. So those are really awesome numbers. They may have had some, I haven't looked at the competition here. And I'm not saying play Ottawa 3. I don't think you need to go that deep. If it was a smaller slate, maybe you consider them. But there's just no power play time. So I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about, I think we're going to see really chalky Winnipeg 1 here. I prefer Winnipeg 1 at home as I do for most lines, but especially them. No one's talked about the splits. Just points-wise, you go back to even last season, metrics-wise, they're just not as good on the road, and I think they're going to be very, very chalky here because it's against Ottawa. Understandable. But now with this line just shutting down lines at a pretty good rate, Ottawa 3, even if they get to 1 goal here, Winnipeg, which is certainly possible, or Ottawa could commit a bunch of penalties and then you're screwed if you faded Winnipeg 1. I'm not with the field, I'll say that, on Winnipeg 1. Right now, I'm looking like I'll probably be around 10 to 12%, whereas I think they're coming in 25 to maybe 30%, depending on the stakes you're playing. I just don't think they deserve to be that owned here. I think there's a lot of value elsewhere. Winnipeg, I'm not saying Winnipeg 1's going to stay off the score sheet. I don't think that's reasonable, but I think there are other very good plays for cheaper. Byfuglien is the guy that I absolutely love here. Like I mentioned, great power play spot for Winnipeg. Byfuglien being back makes their power play so much better that they don't have to bounce around Trouba and Morrissey. So Byfuglien's going to be a guy I heavily target as a one-off on this early slate. I don't think the little line is very good at all. And for that reason, I'm really liking, especially this line, Stone, White, and Kachuk. But I'm also playing quite a bit of the Duchesne line, which I've been playing more of lately. They keep switching around Shabbat with the top and second power play unit. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but if this is a power play unit, then you really like Stone with Duchesne and Shabbat. So I'm all over Ottawa. I play a lot of them when they're at home. They're bad defensively, sure, but they do have one line that's going to be just glued to Winnipeg 1 here. So hoping they can at least limit the damage, don't take a ton of penalties, and hopefully this, not fade, but going underweight on Winnipeg 1 does pay off for me. What in the world happened to Laine? Not a clue. He's not even on the top power play anymore. Roslovic still, power play 1. It doesn't move the needle for me. If I'm going to Winnipeg, it's Winnipeg 1, and that's really about it. It's Byfuglien first, then Winnipeg 1 in some filler lineups. If you want a game stack, I think that's okay. I just think there's so much value on Ottawa here. Winnipeg hasn't been particularly good defensively. They're worse on the road, like I said. And I think Ottawa has two lines that can really generate here against especially the second line, but even this third and fourth line for the Jets. So one of these two lines, I think, has a big day. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to both of them. This will be my highest exposed line on the early slate. Just my favorite line as of late. They're just too cheap. Good numbers, good even strike matchup, power play time. Really like their top defenseman here. I even like Lejoie as well. So there you go. Jake's on Ottawa. What a shock. Are you guys talking soccer in the chat? I can't tell what we're talking about here. You guys know we're talking about hockey, right? All right, I think we're doing main slate now. I think you can outright fade Winnipeg. If I had one lineup, I would outright fade Winnipeg. Yeah. You have 0 Ottawa, Jason? You might be right. I mean, Winnipeg's a way better team. They have the best line in the game. In that game, sure. Just value-wise, I am just hammering Ottawa. So, oh, I think I just got a package. I think I did. Anyways, we don't need to check on that just now. We'll go to the main slate here. 6 games, run through it quick. This one's going to be pretty easy. This will be a favorite of a lot of people. We've got Sharks and Oilers. Martin Jones. Before you start on main, can we talk about the awful contest selection on DK and how bad the pricing is? You want to go to DK quick? We can go to DK. Let me pull up DK. What do we got? So I entered a bunch of stuff. Like I'm in the $8. Oh wait, that's a new $8. What's this? $200. So I'll probably put whatever the max is there and just get a little bit more. Yeah, it looks like everything filled on the early. What do we got on the late? I haven't entered for the late yet. Decent payout structure. Yeah, it's a Saturday. I don't know. They just completely dropped the ball, it seems like. Tommy Nation's going to take down a GPP today? Steven, what do you know? Should I enter more? Should I enter more money? Man, I mean, if I'm a lock to win a GPP, then I should probably be entering everything. The $40 terrible? Is it? I mean, that's pretty industry standard. 1.5 times. It's like a huge deal when they have a 2 times min cash. They make a big deal about it, even though 3-4 years ago that was like when I first started playing, that was just the norm. You doubled your money. Oh, what's up, Max? Max is in there. This is just a tough tournament because this 43, it's expensive. If you max that, you're looking at over $1,600. You know, you can make your money back by getting a bunch of these finishes, and you know, or you could just be like Tom and just take down the top 2. You know, take 6, take 7, take 9, 10. I don't like the $40, but I do play it, so it's usually a bad slate of contests on Saturday, and you can either choose not to play, which I've done a couple times, but I'm gonna play it today. So I usually just throw 20 in there, put the 20 in the $4 and the the lower stuff, and run more uniques. That's my thing. So that's what I'll be doing. McJester. Yeah, McJester. Yeah, he's a stud. He doesn't play hockey though, does he? It's just like good names in here. You got right here, really good names. good player. I'm probably skipping a bunch of guys, but just a lot of very, very good players. And I'm sure a lot of them haven't even entered yet. You got the Slewfoots, Testosterone will be in there, Osmo, Tom, McDavid 7,100. All right, that's my stacks article. My favorite player is Osmo. Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he? Boom. All right, let's do this quick. Sharks Oilers. Big total on this game. 6.5, 3.5 of that going to San Jose, about 3 going to the Oilers. We have probably Jones and Talbot. Oilers complete dumpster fire outside of 1, 2, maybe 3, 4. This guy equals Taylor Hall, according to some people. I like both of the top 2 lines for the Sharks. That's going to be no shock for anyone. If I'm going to one, as far as projections go, without factoring in even strength matchups, and I think we're going to see McDavid go up against Couture, Meyer, and Pavelski. I know that this line has just been absurd, so it wouldn't be the biggest shock if they went up against Hertl, Kane, and Donskoy. Those are top line players that have been playing like one of the best lines in hockey, just had a huge game. But I think this is the true top line in most people's minds with Couture and Pavelski. But you really want the matchup against McDavid. This line is trash at even strength defensively. So I'm going heavy on Couture, Pavelski, and Meyer. Hoping some people with the recency bias go to San Jose too. I hope they're higher owned. That might be a little bit of wishful thinking, but you just get more power play time here. I don't know the status of Carlson. If anybody does, feel free to fill me in. The Sharks are probably skating right about now, or maybe in a little while, if they're doing a morning skate at all. So you might get some more clarity a little bit later this afternoon. But don't comment your favorite player just yet. We're going to make sure once this video ends, do it in the actual comment box, which will be under the video. So not to the side of it, not in this live chat. But thank you, Samuel. All right. So both San Jose lines leaning towards the top one. If you're going to the Oilers, which I think I will be going to quite a bit of Oilers actually tonight, it's this line. Basically, end of story. If you want to leave off Ratty, that's okay, but Draisaitl and McDavid correlate to each other so well. If they start the game together, it's a good chance they stick the whole game. And then you can play Nurse, who is shooting quite a bit as of late. Still playing in the top power play. He's kind of earned that. He's been very good offensively. And then this line also has numbers that are pretty poor. So I'm hoping we see this matchup, this line against this line, because then I think there's going to be a lot of chances traded back and forth. So those are 2 lines that I'm going to be really heavy on for this game. And then he's going to be my highest exposed player. I don't think you need an explanation why. Let's go to the next game. We've got the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. Total here is 6.5 again. Wow, a lot of 6.5ers on this last one. 3.3 going to Toronto, 3.2 going to Montreal. We have Freddie Anderson likely against Carey Price. Montreal won 2 nights in a row. 2 times in a row they've been on the slate. They've just been the nuts. Last game they just gave it to Winnipeg. And I believe this top line was going up against Winnipeg 1 for the most part. Could they do that again here to Tavares and Marner? It's possible. I don't think I'll be there. I'm more on the Toronto side here. I really like Tavares with Marner. That's the line I almost always lean to. I follow Marner wherever he goes. Just love this top line. Hyman's cheap. Tavares and Marner are way too cheap. It's probably going to be pretty chalky, but I'm okay with that because you've got Matthews still. You see what happens when you play the full stack and you get rewarded sometimes with Zach Hyman the other night. Not always going to happen that way, but that's why you can full stack. That's why full stacking is almost always viable, because those guys correlate to each other, whether they're bad players or whether they're good players. And you look at this Dano line, despite the good results lately, they have been doing some damage on the power play. Bruins specifically, they're super high event, and they're bad defensively. 14.5 high danger chances against per 60 in a 120-minute sample. So if they go up against Tavares, that is green light all day for Tavares and Marner. I think you can go to Matthews. I think you can even go to the Kadri line. But my favorite line probably on Montreal, price included, of course, is the Kotkaniemi, Armia, and Lehkonen line. No power play one for Lehkonen, but they're going to get the better of the matchups than both these top two lines. They're probably going to go up against Kadri, maybe some Matthews, and then this Leafs fourth line too. So that's the line I like as a good filler for sure for the Canadiens. Going to be underweight on Montreal 1, it looks like. Hoping the recency bias happens with similar to SJ2, because I think you might get an ownership discount. Who is your favorite to win the East pre-trade deadline? I mean, Tampa, right? It's got to be Tampa. It could be Toronto. I mean, but pre-trade deadline, the Muzzin pickup was nice. I don't know. I don't pay attention that much to, the actual records until, well, really never, because then the playoffs start. But I think Tampa has been pretty awesome, despite a little bit of a rough stretch lately, defensively. That's pretty normal though, for teams that good. They started off so red hot. All right, so this one was dead wrong about Petrie the other night. I liked him a little bit better as a one-off. Weber should be the guy. That was just a miss by me. I don't know what I was thinking. So my bad on that. If you follow the Petrie thing, you play the power play one guy against Winnipeg. So that's my bad. Weber should be clearing away the number one here, I think. He did shoot quite a bit last game too, which you like. Early goal. Yeah, Patty Nemeth, of course. That's my early goal lock. You can lock that in. Nice job, Eric. On this side, I like Riley. Montreal has a pretty poor kill. If I remember correctly. Price has saved them quite a bit, but I really, really love Tavares here. That's the main point, and then he correlates obviously to Riley. If you're going with a 4-man or 3-man, just leaving off Hyman. Notice I'm not talking about goalies. I don't think that's very productive, especially when I'm trying to correlate as much as possible. So my bad if you came here for goalie talk. That's not really my thing, although I do try to project them as best as possible. Pittsburgh, Tampa, we have another 6.5 total, 2.8 going to Pittsburgh, 3.7 for Tampa. Sorry, 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Ignored you on Petrie. Yeah, you should have ignored me. Oh yeah, you're right. My roommate's home, I think. So he might have grabbed the package, but it's a birthday gift anyways for my girlfriend. So hopefully no one takes it. Anyways, Pittsburgh, Tampa. I really liked Pittsburgh when I thought that the point line would be going up against Crosby, Gensel, Rust, and just to be clear, I still do like Pittsburgh, just less than I did last night and this morning when I was looking at the slate. And then I also I whiffed a little bit. I updated the article a little bit and kind of threw it in, but this Tampa 3 line, which has really good numbers, has been matching pretty heavily against opposing top lines. So I wanted to make that somewhat clear. It's going to be Stamkos with Kucherov and Palat. So these lines aren't right. We haven't updated them just yet. But how can you not like that line? Stamkos, Kucherov at 6,700. Is that are we wrong on that? Or is he actually 6,700? He's actually 60. Okay. He's actually 6,700. So, all right. Just to sum this up, Tampa won. You got to love them. They're going to be one of the chalkiest of the night for great reason. They're underpriced. You get full power play 1 correlation. Let's see. They're under 20K. They're not going to face Crosby. They're going to face Bukestad, Kessel, and Cullen. They're going to face McCann, Simone, and Hornquist. They should be able to generate a ton. So, me, the Tampa hater, is on Tampa. Crosby line, I've cooled off on since last night. I'm a little bit worried about this matchup with Tampa 3, but I want no part of Tampa 3. I still think the Crosby line does have the edge there, and you're getting Gensel, assuming no Malkin. Actually, Malkin is out for this game. Gensel power play 1 certainly helps. Rust, a little bit of salary relief, probably more closer to a fair price, I think. Letang, 6K. If you're going to Pittsburgh, he's the guy you play with Crosby. There is no doubt about it in my mind. Sorry, that I shouldn't say he's the only guy you can play. You can play Pettersson. I think they're going to play a ton at even strength with the Crosby line. Actually, wait, will they play with the Crosby line? Because maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe they're going to play more with the Cullen, Bukestad, Kessel line. If they consider this their shutdown pairing, they might play more. They'll try to get them on against Stamkos, Kucherov, and Palat. So they might play more with the second line. I'm gonna look at that after the game. Sorry about that. I don't want to just say things and just be plain wrong. But you saw me go through that in real time, so we'll see. We'll look on that after. Hard not to like both sides of that game, but Pitt won. Going to be a little bit on their own, I think. All right, a game, maybe my favorite game. Panthers. We've got the Capitals. Probably going to be Roberto Luongo and Braden Holtby. Florida 2, I absolutely adore in this matchup. Kuznetsov, Verana, Wilson. Talk about them being maybe the highest event line in the NHL right now. They're giving up what they're taking. And I like Washington too. I think they make for a fine stack, but I think we're just going to see a ton of scoring chances at even strength for Trocheck, Huberdeau, and Vetrano. So that's probably going to be my highest exposed line of the night. I love targeting Washington. I think there still is this narrative that defending Cup champs, they're at home. They're even a decent defensive team. They're bad defensively, and I don't think their goaltending is very good either. So for me, Florida 2, one of the best values on the entire day. When you got Trocheck just over 5K, Vetrano under 5K, Huberdeau, same thing, 5,100. 15-1 to stack is absurd. And then you get the offensive upgrade. Pay a little bit. Broussard was with them last game. They were fine at even strength. They should be better offensively, probably a little worse defensively. So both lines here, especially love Florida 2. I like Washington 1 quite a bit. I don't know what Broussard does for Barkov and Dadonov. They had really bad numbers with Huberdeau. So if Huberdeau was up here, was it Huberdeau or Vetrano? I can't remember. They just haven't been as good defensively, Barkov and Dadonov this season. So Washington 1, I think if you're paying up, is a perfectly fine option. They're not my favorite up there. I do have, I think San Jose above them. I do have a couple other top line. Oh, Tavares line. I have them ahead of them. So it's understandable. But I'm really looking at the value in this game here. Just want to reiterate, Carlson, really love him. He's probably going to be my second or third guy behind Burns. No one's going to come close to Burns, but Carlson might get close. Let's see actually what I ran this morning. Actually, there's one guy. He's not going to be second. He's going to be third. You guys probably know the final guy. Yandel, if you're correlating, I suppose. Ekblad, more of a one-off guy for me at 4,200. All right, Flames, Canucks. We've got David Rittich against Markstrom. Of course, confirm these goalies. 6.5 total here. 3.6 going to Calgary. 2.9 to the Canucks. Calgary won. I really, really like here. They're another one I think I have ahead in raw points over Washington one. Yeah, I do. Actually, pretty comfortably. Almost a point ahead of them. And you've got to pay a little bit more, but just value-wise, point per dollar, I do have Calgary one ahead of them as well. I don't know that there's a matchup I'm worried about for Vancouver. Calgary one's one of the best lines in the NHL that I think they're just kind of underrated still. Road matchup, I think they're likely to be under-owned. We've got all these other spots here. And I love Giordano. Vancouver has been better at taking less penalties. Still don't think they're going to have a great kill. And I love Calgary's power play here. So hoping they can kind of break through Vancouver, who's had a pretty tough penalty kill as of late. Let's see where they're at for the season, though. Still at under 79%. Time shorthanded for Vancouver. They rank third in the NHL. You do not want to put Calgary on the power play. IMO. So Calgary won. As far as the Patterson-Besser line, that's the one that I have rated the highest on Vancouver, but I still don't think I'm going to get too much of them. Whether they go up against Monahan, Gaudreau, and Lindholm, or Backlund, Kachuk, and Frolik, I'm not a fan of the matchup for either of them. And they're probably going to spend more time against Backlund, so no thanks for that. If they somehow get matched up on the third line, I mean, okay, now you're talking them more in play for me, but I just don't think this line's going to be in the game enough to warrant Vancouver making a concerted effort to play them against Calgary 3 for a significant amount of time. So hoping that makes sense, and I'm not just making sense in my own head. Hutton, 3,900, I think is a perfectly fine play. No Edler for this game. Obviously, that brutal injury the other night. Probably going to be out for a while. I mentioned Giordano, just all over him after Burns. We'll have a lot of lineups with both of them going for the testosterone strategy. When you getting a seat to the live final? I think I've decided I'll take stabs at it if I win tickets to the satellite, like via satellite. So I'm not actively chasing it, but if I win tickets, yeah, of course I'm going to take a couple stabs at it. That'd be sweet to go to Washington. A lot of good players have qualified also, so would be cool to get to meet some of them. Think we can take back the Nolan Patrick pick. Why, you don't like Patrick? What's wrong with Nolan Patrick? Is he out or something? Did I miss something there? Now you got me worried, Eric. Anyways, let's get through this last game. This one will not be too difficult for me. All right. Columbus, Vegas, we have probably Bobrovsky going up against Marc-Andre Fleury. I am all over Vegas here. I think, not I think, I am pretty confident Smith is going to be up in the spot that you see Zykov at. And for me, that makes Vegas 1 super underpriced. That would give them full power play correlation. The minutes, they're going to see a lot of minutes. Columbus has been pretty bad defensively as well. And Vegas isn't a hard match, so they're going to see a little bit of everyone. So all that, like, I just think Vegas should be able to generate a ton of chances just for way too cheap, way too cheap, especially if Smith is on that top line and if it's not Zykov. He stinks. Patrick stinks. I mean, maybe, but I mean, I'm not leading the Nolan Patrick fan club. I was more talking as a stack. So, all right, no more Nolan Patrick talk. Vegas 2 is, I think are they more expensive than Vegas 1, even with Smith up there? Just trying to do the math in my head. I think they are. So, anyways, it's close. They're also fine for me. I don't really want to get to much Columbus tonight. I don't see myself ending up there. They switched around their line so much, and if I was getting to Columbus, it would be with CBJ1, but I've got them as a pretty bad value. Anytime you're going into Vegas, it's going to be really tough for me to play a super expensive line, even one as good as Columbus 1, especially on a decent-sized slate. So I've got Washington 1 ahead of Columbus 1. I've got Calgary 1. I've, of course, got Tampa 1. And I've even got Pittsburgh 1 ahead of them right now. So, and then, of course, Tavares Marner and Zach Hyman, the GOAT. Vegas defenseman's tough. Their power play hasn't been good. So, if you're correlating, you probably have to go with Colin Miller. He's the cheapest of the 3 guys you actually want to play. And he does get the top power play time. So if they do break through on the power play, then he's probably your guy. All right, that's going to do it. We got through 13 games. So apologize if I was ranting. Let's see how long we've been going for. 1 hour 7? That's not too bad. Yes, the giveaway again. February 13th, we are celebrating our first anniversary here at Osmo.com. It's been a really fun year. I've almost been here for a year, actually. So pretty cool. $700 value. We're giving away an all-access membership on the YouTube channel. The way you do that is once this video ends, you refresh the page, you comment, and we're going to comment your favorite all-time NHL player. Could be anyone from back in the day, or it could be McDavid or Patrick Nemeth. But anyways, you're going to do that. You're going to like the video. That's how you get entered into the YouTube channel giveaway. If you want an additional chance to win an Osmo.com membership for a year, again, $700 value, go to Osmo.com's Twitter page. So I will link the Twitter account right now in the chat. It is Osmo_com. I will link that account right now in chat. You can go to this, see the pinned message for directions as to how you get another chance at winning a free year of Osmo.com Premium. So thanks, guys, for watching. We had a pretty good crowd in here. Thanks, Boom, for keeping the chat alive, talking some soccer. And hit me up in Premium Chat if you are... if you just want to talk, you want to talk hockey, I will pretty much be around. And, thanks for watching, guys. Good luck on both of these slates.